Hello and welcome to another Meller Notes podcast, the podcast that exists to help you on career, leadership, and management. And of course, always with the purpose to help you on your personal and professional development. I'm here to help you. And today we're going to talk about China. China that doesn't want to be copied anymore. Also, OpenClaw is joining OpenAI. Servers will move to space, and 96% of engineers don't trust AI. I hope they are checking the code. Are they? Let's talk about this today. But you, as always, or at least as I aligned with you in the previous episode, the episode that launched this podcast, I would like to start actually with a story that will connect a little bit with the topic we are going to cover today. And to connect that with a little story, I want to bring you back to the past. Centuries ago, when England was a small island and was seeing at that point Spain and Portugal control the gold and the trade and everything around it was controlled by Portugal and Spain at the time. Queen Elizabeth I had a navy that was not strong enough. So she created a new rule for the game. And that's where they gave legal permission for pirates to start operating. Francis Drake, for example, if you know the story, is a good example of a pirate that took it seriously and got some good advantage from this deal. What was the mission of the pirates, or what is the point of the deal here? They could copy roads of different countries. They could, or if they could, steal gold and take navigation knowledge from those other navigators from other countries, operating by stricter rules and by themselves with the blessing, let's call it this, from England. It was an open world, and England was on the side, so they were trying to take over, not thinking that much on the rules they were playing because they were not the one controlling the game. But what happened centuries later is that what happened when England became the industrial power? Well, they start to have a strong navy and a strong trade. And then finally, they were the ones setting the rules. They were the ones controlling the game. So the pirates were actually the one to be killed because they were making bad things for England business. You know, when you are on top, you are the one who want to build walls. So you protect what you build. And in this case for England, was very important to now protect what they built, even though that would mean change completely what they created when they were the ones playing against the rules. And the story we are going to talk, or the first one today, that is very connected to this, to the story that we start talking right now, is China. China, who copied the world for more than 30 years, now doesn't want to be copied by anyone else. Yeah, that is the thing that we see in an article from The Economist. They are saying that Chinese courts now handle more than 500,000 cases per year against, protected product or protected technology, and people who are going and trying to get their rights regarding technology that was created. So police in China is they are acting against all those copycats, and companies like BYD and China Solar, they are suing Western competitors for patent violations. So China is not the only one producing right now, of course, many of those technologies, but China is finally the one giving the cards, controlling the game, because they are on top of so many things regarding technology right now that is important to them not to plan against the rules anymore and not be the one on the side copying, but actually be the one who protect and build the walls. And this is not hypocrisy from China in any way. This is actually market maturity, because there is a point where economies who grow as in England did, when they were not being the ones giving the cards, controlling the game, they were playing against the rules for a reason, to grow and to gain knowledge. So copy can be a strategy depending on where you are playing your game right now. But once you are the one leading, you want to protect, you want to build the walls, you want to protect, of course, the ones that are building that with you. In this case, the Chinese companies. It's of course a big thing to reflect from an economy perspective, and of course from what it means from the market in general. But this podcast exists to help you reflect on how those things can inspire you at some point for your career, your personal and your professional development. And you know, there's a point early in our career where copying others can help you learn fast. But there's also a point in your career where you should protect your work. Now that you copied some kind of framework, some kind of way of working, and you are very good on that, it's the moment to protect the way you are doing that. And protect could mean adapting that to be your unique way of working. In project management, many companies do actually the opposite. They start from the beginning protecting the way of working they have, even though this is unique, instead of using what is already working in the market. Take frameworks, for example, like Scrum, Kanban, Safe, and many other frameworks that can help teams organize themselves around product management or project management. Those models, they work in many companies and they have a model so you can copy and you can start using as it is, which is normally a good strategy. Take the framework as it is, use that, apply that, follow the rules from the beginning. And then once you copy it, start to adapt and start to protect your way of working. That is the way that we expect to do things. But many companies do the opposite. They start to adapt frameworks and ways of working since day one. And there is a point in their journey where they don't even know what they're doing anymore because it's not comparable with anything in the market. And if the professionals who are there doing those kind of ways of working and frameworks leave the company, there's no one else who knows this kind of ugly monster the company created, because it's so unique that no one else can actually help the company to survive and in the long term stay relevant with this kind of way of working. And then they restart again. They take a new way of working, adapt, and start again spending a lot of money on new process instead of doing what is working in the market. And as I said, this is a very good reflection to our careers, because what is our identity in the end? In the beginning, as I said, when we are starting a new area, it's totally fine, and I would say even normal, to copy senior professionals, to see what they are doing, what is working or what's been working for a long time, and try to use the same techniques, the same ways of working, the same methods. But once you are the one providing more value and the one actually leading or being the specialist in some area, you are the one expected to protect this kind of unique way of working and methods that you have, because this is what makes you different from the people around you. Okay? That was a good reflection on this China thing. And I think that is can also be a good moment to jump to the second topic I'd like to discuss with you today. Because according to Elon Musk, in less than 3 years, it would be cheaper to have servers running AI in the space than running here on Earth on a data center. That's a big thing, because I don't know how much you know about that, but Google and other companies, they are not planning, they are actually executing, sending data servers and technology to the space to run above our heads. in the orbit of Earth. When you stop to think for a while on this, it actually makes sense. What did it make so expensive to have a data center and to expand or to grow in terms of technology for AI data centers? Well, it's of course the electricity you require for that. And AI system, they use a massive amount of electricity, and data center generate extreme heat in the space. Heat is it's not that it's not a problem, but it's much easier to solve with the temperature that you have in the space. And then you have electricity, depending where you put in the orbit of Earth, you have what? The sun. So you can have the energy from the sun to make those things run. The project that Google has to put those data centers there is actually called Project Suncatcher. So you can understand what Google is doing. But the point is, or the reflection here for always for careers is, what is the point of inflection where whatever we see the market is doing right now in terms of technology, products, ways of working, that we see that is hitting a ceiling, and it needs to go to another area, another place, thinking outside the box to start growing again. Many industries and many products, they were reinvented or reshaped completely when someone asked those kind of questions. How can we grow? We cannot grow anymore here, so maybe we need to change what here means. This kind of project is doing this kind of interesting questions, and we should also be asking ourselves what area, what we are doing, or what in our industry is actually hitting this point where we need to change the rules of the game to make the game grow again. It's a very I don't know how to say this, but you understand that there's a point in your career that also the job or the role that you're playing right now goes to a moment where it's hard to grow because you hit this limit. You know, you try to do more, you try to do something different, but you are not actually moving anything else. Those are normally the moments where people start asking themselves, is there a time for a change? And there are many ways or different ways you can change. You can change your role, you can change the area that you're working, you can change the company for a new challenge. But in the end, the question should always be, can I realize when the what is the moment I'm living right now? Because sometimes you are not growing because you're stuck, and then of course you need a change. But sometimes you're not growing because you are not seeing or realizing the right things around you or asking the right questions. So reflect a little bit with that in mind, that if you know exactly what moment you are in your career and you're asking the right questions, you probably have much more chance to know exactly when is the moment to move and when is the moment to just stay where we are but do things differently. The next topic I want to cover, as I said also in the title, this one is a quite curious one for the people working with technology. 96 of engineers don't trust on the output from AI, but only 48% review the outcome of that. That's a very interesting research, right? I checked that when I was reading the newsletter called Engineering Leadership, a very good one. I recommend you check that one. And the report that did this research is called State of Code Report from the Sonar source. What they did, they interviewed many developers and they have a good database for that. And they realized with those engineers a very interesting, at least I can say that, I think, result. 96%, it's a huge number, right? 96% of the engineers don't trust the AI output they are getting. it means that almost everyone working with software engineering that did this research don't trust AI output, but only half check the output themselves. There are many podcasts, newsletters, and people much more prepared than me to go to the technical discussion that we could be doing here. And I am, of course, always scared a little bit because there's always a lot of questions here. Because as an engineer, you are expected to be the one thinking on the solution, not to it's not you're not implementer, only an implementer. You are the one building the solution for the problem. So maybe your whole thinking, together or not with AI, is already your way of checking the output of whatever you're doing. So there are many questions that I have here from a technical perspective, and as I said, there are many people asking those questions and having very good articles out there around this point. But my point, or what I want to make a reflection focusing on career, in this case, career skills, is what is the thing that I have that differentiate me from people doing the same as I do? Because in the world with AI accelerating so many different things and so many different areas, is speed maybe would not be a differentiator for anyone in any area that is being affected by this kind of technology. So the reflection should then be, if the speed is not a problem anymore, like creating code is not a problem anymore, what specific skill do I have that are making me a different and a better professional who can deliver value to the market? I think this is the right reflection to do when you look to data like this with code being generated so fast. For developers, for example, the future for sure, the future skill is not is not coding itself, but knowing how to solve the problem. Because just thinking about this, for how long in this industry we are saying that we are doing faster the wrong things. I think this is one of the main reflections I always do when I hear that people are coding faster using AI, is asking the question, but are you coding and solving the right problems? Are you focusing energy and, as we heard recently in our previous discussion, spending electricity and solving the right things? Because building faster the wrong thing, it's still a big problem. It doesn't create any value at all. And if we reflect about this, about the speed of creating the wrong thing, the whole discussion around agile, for example, when those frameworks is being around this, you were expected to be creating more value and reduce waste as in lean methods. But in the end, you are so occupied with certifications, and the whole market of agile became a market of certifications, that you forgot that the main point was always to create more value and, solve problems. And now it's the same with AI and coding. Okay, engineers don't trust AI output. And I think that was a good starter for our discussion. But what are the use cases that are actually making the business create more value because the coding now is faster? I think that is a great reflection and something that can also be very good, very useful. But then back to your career, if that is not a differentiator anymore because you can create code faster, how can you be the great engineer on this century, on this moment, with the knowledge you have, with the skills you have? I think that is the question that you should be asking yourself. Okay, and now a very interesting discussion, and discussion here is around uh, um, corporate changes. Um, the question in the air with this is: do you want to build a company or do you want to change the world? That is the question that Peter Steinberger, the creator of OpenClaw, reflected, moving from OpenClaw and with all the other opportunity he had with money at the table, with investment coming to the company and other possible changes to other companies like Meta and other big players in the market, he chose to go to OpenAI. And the point of my reflection here is, of course, not around the corporate gossip here. No, that is not about that. But if you know OpenClaw, they were basically building something related to personal AI agents. So something you could rely to use AI agent to communicate with your WhatsApp and Telegram and things like that, Slack, and with that manage as a partner agent in this case your calendar, your email, your daily tasks, and it's open source. But he wrote a blog post on his blog, and I took this specific phrase that it caught my attention a lot. He said, "I already played the company building game for 13 years, but I want to change the world." What is the reflection that came to my mind when I was reading this one? It's about entrepreneurship. Being an entrepreneur is not related to titles. It's not related to you know a specific position in a company. Entrepreneurship is a behavior, first of all, a behavior related to solve real problems, to think long term, to take responsibility. It's not only creating a company. If you create a company, you can just be like a businessman and not be an entrepreneur at all, depending on how you're looking to that company and the problems you want to solve. But in the case of this guy, he is saying, and I'm not going to the deep discussion around like the money he's going to get and the political things around this. Please, this is not the point. But the reflection is really about, uh, you know, what game are we playing? If we say we want to solve problems and change the world, do we need to build a company, a new business to do that, or maybe we can stay connected to a company, to a business that makes sense with our purpose, and then be an entrepreneur, be entrepreneur inside the company. That's the point, because this is the behavior on solving problems or solving issues. And I think the reflection here is fantastic just by this kind of lens when we look to like entrepreneurship as a behavior inside a company or creating your own business. I think that is a great reflection on relevance as well. How relevant you want to be depending on where you are. You can have this kind of relevance building your own business, or you can have a different relevance but building, together with someone else another business idea. But the relevance in the end is always related to you and what you can provide. And finally, as promised, with we're going to also always discuss in this podcast books. Books are great. I read a lot. Books are great tools to help us think deeper, to think with other perspective. And today I want to bring a book from Marcus Buckingham. I hope you know this author because he has many very interesting books on career and performance and growth. And one thing that is very hard with books related to career is that you expect those books to not be like motivation speech without any reflection that makes sense in reality and anchor on fundamentals. And in this case, Marcus Buckingham is always very good. So I definitely recommend. But the quote that I took today for our reflection is from a book called Stand Out 2.0. And in this book, he said this phrase that I think it's fantastic. Pay attention, I'll go slowly, okay? In a world that is too busy to really care about you and your strengths, I will repeat that. In a world that is too busy to really care about you and your strengths, the responsibility falls to you to apply your strengths consciously every day. It's a great reflection if you stop to think for a while. Growth is not fixing our weakness, but growth is about using our strengths on purpose. It's a, I mean, that's a brilliant reflection because many people spend years of their life trying to just get better on things that they are weak and is not related to who they are, just because someone gave the feedback that they are bad on doing that thing. And they don't put concentration and effort and energy to be even better on those things that they are great. I can bring you an example from myself. I've been writing online for many, many years. And in the beginning, many people told me, your text is quite good. You help me to reflect. So your writing is great. And there was a point that I reflected and said, okay, if my writing is great, maybe I can invest more to be even better on doing that. And that's what I did. I tried to learn more about storytelling, learned about different techniques to build a good text. And I think that improved a lot how I think and many other areas of my life because I was putting energy on something that I had this, easy way of doing it. And then that was a strength and then become like a skill. And now it's the same related to why I'm doing. It's not only that, of course, but also why I'm doing this kind of new format with the podcast and videos because there are many things that I saw that I could be developing even more while also helping you. So that's a perfect way to bring things together. So if your communication is great, invest on that. If your skills related to negotiation are good, invest on that. That is a reflection that we should be taking more seriously because as it says here, the world is too busy to really care about you and your strengths. Well, it's obvious. There's an effect, psychological effect that is called the spotlight effect. It is the kind of thing that we feel when we have the impression that everyone is looking at us, or everyone is paying attention to what we said, or everyone will care because you said something in a meeting. No one cares. People are too concentrated right now thinking what others are thinking about themselves. So it's a game of focus on you, on your growth. Everyone wants recognition. Everyone wants that. So don't wait for the recognition to come to you. Work to be better and to grow on things that you are good. I think that is a reflection that I would like to bring from this book, a great one, and a great way to close this episode number 2 of Meller Notes. Thank you very much for being here. I'm William Meller, and that was Meller Notes.